homes in mobile home, living in apartments, living in multi-families. Like I didn't know they were fourplex. I didn't know what a fourplex was, which is what we grew up in, right? Like we drove by, I drove by a couple years back the mobile home park I grew up in. It's not there anymore. It's a nice, it's a nice industrial area.
That's crazy.
Right?
So you was raised in it here?
Yeah.
AZ. You mentioned Chandler earlier, say the
Yeah.
purple state, or purple area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I'm frustrated by because I think all the Californians are ruining it. But
Yeah, there are a lot moved here since the pandemic.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
That's
but yeah, I mean, it goes like looking at you, like, what do you think? Because I can tell you with a certain degree of confidence why I'm wired the way I am.
Yep.
Right. And the reason why my brothers aren't, because they have more options, right? And I was around actually to be their parent, kind of, right?
Yep.
While my parents were away. So, why are you so driven?
I'm so driven because I used to cry in my room when I was a kid, elementary school. I would say I can remember as young as 5. Right, youngest 5, probably before that, but youngest 5. I used to cry in my room. My parents, my mom and daddy, are arguing about money. They was always fucking broke, Steve. Always broke, always broke. Like my mom would borrow money, like, well, I'm gonna go borrow some money from my mama then to cut these lights back on, or Christmas is coming up. And they arguing about how they can get Christmas, which in my brain, I never told them this, but in my brain, now they know they were watching the video, but you know, I'd be like, I don't need Christmas. I didn't really care. Like it was to a point where I didn't care that if they got me Christmas or not, because it hurted me to see them argue about money, and she'll go borrow a JCPenney credit card or Sears credit card just to get me Christmas. But now you're in debt. So when early age, I remember I was like, I'm never going to be broke. I'm never going to be broke. And that traumatized me. And to this day, I stay away from fathers as broke as possible because I don't like that feeling.
Yeah,
because
if I have money, I'll have a happy marriage.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I mean, at the simplest, right? Not accurate, not true.
It's not 100% accurate. It's more pieces to the puzzle.
But at 5 years old, that makes total sense.
Yes. Right. I remember. I said this I think I was 7. I was like, I'm never be broke. They used to argue all the time.
Yeah.
Every 2 weeks it was a paycheck problem. Like
so
every
my
2
wife's
weeks,
parents were the same.
Every other Friday. They both got paid every other Friday.
Yeah.
And granted, like, I mean, I look back, I mean, you know, probably at that time, my mom was probably making 15 grand a year. My dad was making 20, 25,000. I mean, come on. I mean, you are gonna be broke. So that's logically, you're not gonna have no money.
I remember my parents' paychecks were like $350, right? For like 2 weeks.
Right.
The hell is that? Right? But you know, $350 in the 80s is different than $350 today. Right? But yeah, like crying because they were fighting about money. That makes sense why you're so driven.
Right. I mean, it was fighting, like physically, but the way they were yelling at each other about them. I mean, shit, you could hear that shit probably outside in the backyard. I mean, it was just so loud. I heard everything.
So what's fascinating too, right? Is that's what programmed you, potentially.
Yes,
right?
possibly.
But you're not the only one that experienced that.
Right.
But how it worked for you turned you into this.
Exactly. Right? That's what triggered me to be who I am, and I do think that is trauma.
Yeah, but you look at like trauma. There was a story, I think like 2 twin boys, I believe. They were definitely brothers, but they might have been twin boys, right? One's in prison, locked up, right, for murder. The other one's successful CEO of a Fortune 500 company, right? And they interviewed both brothers. Like, what do you think? Like, what caused this? Like, my parents were always fighting. My dad was an alcoholic. My mom was never home, and all this horrific stuff, right?
Yep.
Like, what would you expect me to do?
Right.
And they both said the same exact thing. They're a product of the same environment.
Yep.
Right. So it's fascinating, like, because you're not the only one in the hood where your parents are fighting about money, but
right, they were part of the same environment, and then how they was raised.
Right.
In their brain, they made it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And they did make it if they're comparing to where they come from and how they were raised. I mean, they came from shit. You know what I'm saying?
But that's the reason why you're wired the way you are. Is the reason why I'm wired the way I am. I know, like my wife's the reason why she's wired the way she is.
Right.
Right. Took a lot of time for her to figure out money is not the answer.
Right. And I also, like, later on, like, I would say, like, I got my first job at like 15. My mom got me the job where she was working at. She, you know, I don't know if it was like a hookup basically, but they allowed me to work where she worked at. With the truck driving job, I would go out to high school and pack these trucks and load these trucks up with boxes and stuff. And I realized, I'm like, I think I was like 17 or 18 when I realized, I was like, I don't like authority. I don't like somebody bossing me around. I hated that. Like, I hated that. I had to be to work. So summertime I worked 4 times. So I'd be 16 years old, got to be to work at 9. I remember I used to be to work at 9. I used to work like 9 to like 9 or 10 at night, 12 plus hour shifts in the summertime. I'll clock in at 9:02 and the boss, Antonio, you're late. Like, you're late, Antonio. I'm gonna get you written up. And I was late so many times to his expectation, 9:05, 9:02, but my mom was like always the favorite there. So I got a pass and I started to notice that, but I hated that over top, like that authority. So I was like, man, I gotta get the fuck out of this job. Like, I gotta figure this out. So I started selling pounds of weed at 21 through 24. I was selling pounds of weed out my house, like whole pounds, to people at my mom's job. You know what I'm saying?
So you were selling to the end user?
No. I had a pound of weed. I was breaking down to onions.
So you were distributing?
I was distributing, yes.
Yeah. I was like, you're moving pounds.
Yeah.
Like, damn, Antonio.
I was moving about 4 of those a week, 4 pounds a week. Onions, because some people at my job was taking onions, they was breaking down to nickel bags and dime bags was in style.
Yeah.
They were breaking them down. They was doing their thing, like there was even way more like detail. And they'll come back, like, Tony, I need another onion, or somebody might buy four from me.
Yeah.
And I go to my source, and that's how I was able to maintain outside of a job.
Yeah.
Was weed and selling beats.
Yeah.
Because it's music, obviously. So
you're not making money selling music.
Yeah. And I'm glad I got out of that, because my house got robbed twice, not because of me, but my cousin, which was my cousin and his boy. That was my connect. They robbed my house there because he was living with me. My cousin was living with me. They shot down my door. Yeah, they shot down my door. Check this out. They shot down my door, went in his room, stripped him down, butt naked. This is a lot of money back then. He had like over 5,000 in cash, and he had pounds of weed. He had it in his closet. They took it, robbed him. And here's the crazy part. I just left out that door 10 minutes prior that they shot through. That front door, 10 minutes prior.
Yeah.
The second time I got robbed was 3 minutes. My house got robbed was 3 months later. I was in Miami doing music, and my cousin called me. It's like, where you at? I was like, I'm in Miami. He said, shit, like, damn, they just came and robbed the house again. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, bro, like God's telling me something, because it's not me that robbing, but I'm so close to this now, and I'm doing my thing.
In proximity.
I got to get out of this. And then a year later, I started real estate.
Yeah.
That was like my savior, like.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing.
You know what I mean? Did you see that picture I posted today with the dreads? The dreads and the
I think so.
the fronts of my mouth, the chain.
Yeah.
That era.
Yeah.
That's the era. That's it.
I was talking to Antoine Campbell. You ever talk to him?
What's his name?
Antoine Campbell.
I don't know him.
Yeah. So like, he's a big dude. So I mean, like, I talked to him about this. Like, you know, his thing is, because he also grew up pretty hood. It's like, yeah, like, I want them to know that if you can hustle, you can make it in real estate.
Yes. One of my videos I want to record is comparing weed to wholesaling.
You should.
Because that's a great analogy.
You ever seen some of my most viral videos? Is that I talk about how I love hiring drug dealers.
Ooh. I don't think I've ever seen those videos of yours.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, because like, what can you do? You know how to source.
Yeah.
You know how to sell. You know how to collect.
What's your Wi-Fi?
Like conflict resolution. It's real estate rocks with capital R.
Real estate rockstar?
Real estate rocks.
Okay.
Capital R. Conflict resolution, right? And finances.
Really?
I mean, what are the skills we have in wholesale and real estate?
All of that.
Sourcing, distribution,
hustle,
relationships, money, conflict resolution.
And anybody that's from that, just dealing drugs, just anybody like in that era, like they're driven.
You know how I know?
And you gotta be, yeah. I mean,